I'm Marcus White, leader of Everyone is God, Britain's most visionary political party. I want to solve every problem in Britain, and I want to see everyone fulfilled. This is a podcast of hard questions. See me cross-examined. Do I have the answers? Do I really have a plan that works? Ask your questions and decide for yourself.
Good afternoon, good people. We're watching the Everyone is God political podcast. I am joined with the lovely Marcus White and Rosie Morale. Marcus, Rosie, the sun is shining. It's a great day. England beat Mexico yesterday in the World Cup, which is fabulous news. The country's
I haven't
feeling...
seen it. You've ruined it for me.
Oh, good God. Oh,
I
you won't be able...
recorded it. I haven't even looked at it yet.
Oh, good God. There we go. There we go. Spoiler alert. There you go.
Spoiler alert.
Marcus, Rosie, how are we doing on this lovely day?
We're good. Yeah, very good. It's a beautiful day here. We're excited and a bit nervous to be doing this today. It's very rare that we do channeling live on social media, although we've done thousands of hours of it between ourselves. Rosie, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel a bit nervous, if I'm honest, because channeling's very personal to me. It's something that I do, like, mainly with Marcus. I've channeled for a few people in paid sessions before who've been interested, but it's a very personal experience, and so I feel quite exposed. I rarely do it on YouTube live, and so I'm on three or four different channels right now. So I feel a little bit exposed and a bit like nervous, but it'll be fine.
Yep. And like I say, you know, this isn't Ghost. You're not Whoopi Goldberg. You're not putting a performance on. You're doing something from your real experience, and something that maybe we can, like. So for guys, anyone that doesn't know, that's just joining us on social media right now, Marcus. This is Marcus White. He's a political leader of Everyone is God, and his partner Rosie Morale. And Rosie Morale has I don't know what we want to call it, a spiritual gift where she's able to channel anyone, basically. And most importantly, you channel God, I believe, is something you do, Rosie. Is that right?
Yeah, so we Marcus and I believe God is within every not just everyone, but everything, every atom in the universe has God, that power, whatever name you want to put on it. We use God, but it's whatever the energy, whatever you want to call it, is within everything in our universe. And that creative energy is what I channel. And so I believe anyone can do that. Anyone can connect with that energy within themselves and channel or fit, when we have intuition or feelings. I believe that's our sort of God energy, if you like, talking to us, communicating with us. It's saying, this is a good idea. Sometimes you have a good feeling about doing things or a bad feeling. That's what I believe is your, for want of a better word, God energy. But it's whatever name you want to put on it, communicate with you.
And interestingly, Brad, obviously I've got a physics background, and we know from physics that everything in the universe is connected with everything else, and it's all communicating between itself. So even an atom, we know from quantum mechanics, even a single atom feels everything in the universe and knows what's going on throughout the whole universe and responds to it. So as from my perspective, channeling is just a physical fact of the way the universe is. You're able to do it because everything is connected to everything else, and it's scientifically proved.
Okay.
So Yeah.
We have a great question over here, and it's probably a question to address really quickly because this is something that a lot of people will sort of. This is probably the irrational sort of thing that people will come up. Human beings always try to explain the unexpected. So, how do you personally distinguish between actually hearing and channeling God versus your own thoughts, emotions, or your own subconscious mind?
Well,
This is a really good question.
It's actually a brilliant. It's actually a
yeah,
brilliant question for this
it's
segment.
a very good question. It goes straight to the training of channel. I also channel myself, but I'm nowhere near as good at it as Rosie. And when I do it, for Rosie, it's very distinct. She'll tell you how it is for her. When I do it, this question is very relevant because it's very subtle when I do it. And it just feels different. It feels like this voice, this communication inside of you is coming from a different place than your own thoughts, but you really have to surrender to it. And when you start channeling, this question's exactly what you ask yourself. Am I just talking to myself and listening to my own thoughts? But as you develop the skill, it gets more and more distinct. And Rosie, for Rosie, it's completely different. So why don't you explain what it's like for you, Rosie?
Well, for me, it's very much a bit of a minefield, if I'm totally honest, because I've been having spiritual experience from a very, very early age. I remember seeing sort of energy, for want of a better word, or ghost, whatever you want to call it, when I was quite young. And I mentioned earlier that I had this, I mentioned the other day, I think on a podcast, that I had this reoccurring dream that one of my siblings was drowning and I couldn't save them. And then my brother drowned and the dream stopped. So for me, my thought, I'm actually constantly within my thoughts getting, for want of a better word, messages or whatever. And for me, I actually believe it's all kind of this God energy, except everything in the universe is half dark and half light. So sometimes, for example, if you want to buy something, you can't afford it or whatever, you think, is this God telling me I need to buy this thing? Or is it you're part of your sort of ego or whatever? Well, it's a bit of both.
Yeah, but the thing is, Rosie, when you channel, when Rosie channels, she goes into a trance.
Yeah.
And she can actually she'll become subconscious or unconscious. So Rosie, why don't you, because it's very distinct when you do it, isn't it?
Well,
you actually move out the way.
I do move out the way. But I'm not, there's some trance mediums who can change, their voices change and everything, which is quite different. My voice stays the same. Maybe my sort of demeanor changes slightly. I can sometimes sort of hear, it does feel like sometimes when I channel very deep energy, it is definitely not me. It can be it feels like a masculine energy coming into my body, and it literally feels very forceful and strong.
Why don't we have a demonstration of this, and then everyone can see for themselves? Rosie, no pressure. If you're not feeling the connection right now, I don't know how it works for you, but don't feel that it's a performative thing. Just do what you do, and we will observe. And I'm pretty sure there's people here, all different religious beliefs, that'd be very fascinated by this. So Rosie, when you feel ready, you can go into your.
I'd just like to say quickly, because I know in spiritualist churches in England, before the law, that this is it is a form of entertainment. I'm not here to sort of for people to lean on my every word. So it's very important that it might
Well, it's not
resonate,
entertainment. It's a guidance system, but it's important that everybody makes their own mind up, makes their own decisions.
On my word, you can take it or leave it, but I'm not here to influence people's lives dramatically, and that's one thing I'm very passionate. I want to enforce that. I don't like to sort of people to rely on me doing this. It's just a form of whatever
guidance.
Yeah, guidance.
Start when you're ready, Rosie. This will be fascinating.
I have my crystals that help me.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome.
Welcome. Who is this?
Welcome. It is Archangel Gabriel. The angels that reside around the earth plane. We are here on frequency basis. Everything is a frequency: light, sound, physical energy. Angels in your human concept are just here as part of that frequency. We also have the energy of God as well with us. God is energy that is within everything. Everything that you can imagine is what God is within. I have come as an angel, as the human consciousness can feel safe sometimes with that word angel. It is a concept that human understands and does not necessarily feel so threatened by, which is why I present now. But I am also here with the God frequency as well. Do you have any questions for me?
I'll leave it to you and Marcus for the minute and see how you lot, see what you lot experience and how you lot.
Can I just say, we work as a pair usually when we channel, and so when Rosie channels or I do, the energy that comes through will match what is happening at that moment in time. And because we're doing this live and Rosie feels a bit nervous and it's the first time she's done it, she's bringing the Archangel through with God. And this happens all the time with us. This is very normal. So the guides we bring through will come through appropriate to the situation we're channeling in. And like as the guides have explained, we have an archangel and also the energy of God. So maybe the first place to start is, let's talk about, can I ask you just to explain to everybody how everyone is God?
Everyone is God because everything is God. Every single atom is the atom and particle of God. It is not great, nor is it insignificant. It is just as it is. It is the most plain but beautiful energy you can ever imagine. But it is also the darkest energy and the lightest energy. It is everything and nothing. It is not your keeper, nor is it against you or for you. It is just you. It is the essence of all that you are. That is God. All that you are. It is not anything separate from you.
So to help people understand this, can you explain how God, you can imagine it almost like a lump of clay or some energy, and how God separates into everything, molds into everything. Everything's made out of God, and that's how everything's created. And this is how everyone is God, because we're all made from God. There's no other material or energy in the universe other than God. Can you sort of explain that from your point of view so people can start to understand this concept more, that we're all God and we're all made from God and there's nothing else?
Okay, we will try. So, God in a religious term or many human concept believes it is something outside of them that created them. That created the Big Bang. That created sand, the water, day and night, and the evolution process. This is what human understands. It's a greater power outside of them that created them. And some human thinks that there's an aspect of God inside of them, but it's a greater power outside of them that created everything else and them. What it really is that you, the concept of the Big Bang is you, your thoughts. So let's take this back. Imagine everyone watching this right now, whatever you are doing, watching on your phone, your screen, or whatever. You have chosen to do that. You have chosen to click on it, to watch it, and to be with this YouTube or whatever it is on. You have chosen that. That was a choice from your thoughts, like you chose to get up in the morning. And every single choice that you can remember all the way back into your early years, your earliest memories. Those are all choices. And then you might think, well, when did I begin? So you began with your parents. Now, this is the point, that actually you even chose your parents. And yes, your parents made you and you are half of each of them. But in one sense, there is no time and there is time. So there's an energy where you are not just a part of your parents, but you are also your mother and you are also your father and your siblings. However, you're now experiencing what it is to be you. So that feels separate from them. And it feels very much that they created you, you're younger than them, and there is a past, a present, and a future. Now, for you to have the experience of being human and understanding that, you have to feel that there is a separation. So there is a past, there is a present, and there is a future. There are separate things. And there are people who are older than you and people who are younger than you. And you have to feel that there are certain things that maybe are out of your control. But the truth is that it is all within your control. There is this concept that you feel and is very tangible with you every day, that this time concept, there is a past, a present, and a future. But actually, there is no time, and it's something that you've chosen to experience the human life so you can have a mysterious experience where you do not know what will happen in your future.
So what you're saying is that we are the whole system. We create everything. We are our parents. We are the past. We are the present. We are the future. We create the whole system, but we actually experience it just from one point of view, our specific human point of view that we hold. And the reason we do that is so that we can have a specific experience and experience life through the framework of being the human that we are. But the ultimate truth is actually we're the whole system. We are our body and what we perceive as ourself, but we're also everything else in our reality. The separation that we feel between us and everything else is actually an illusion. Just like mystics have said for thousands of years, everything is one. So this is how we create human experience, by separating and seeing reality from a specific point of view. But in truth, like I said, we are the whole system. We are everything. We are God.
Correct.
And who are we speaking? Who are? If I was to speak to you now, would I be speaking directly to? You know, you said that you are channeling the archangel Gabriel and the energy of God. Who am I speaking to now?
Both of us. You can choose to speak with God if you wish.
Okay.
So when Rosie channels, like I said, we've done thousands of hours of this. Normally, when Rosie channels for me, I will ask who I want to speak to sometimes, or other times I'll just let whoever comes through according to the situation that we're in. And you can ask for anybody. It's just like having a mobile phone with everybody's number in the universe on that mobile phone. You can just speak to whoever you want. This is the skill Rosie has, and this includes people who are alive and people from history as well who have passed over. So everybody has a.
Would I be able to speak if if I ask some questions, and maybe that will sort of help out a little bit here. So why I'm not whoever comes through, you can answer how you wish. But why have you chosen this vessel to speak through?
The vessel of Rosie, or in general, the human vessel?
Rosie.
Welcome, Carlos. This is God. I will pronounce your name. That is your name, your birth-given name, Carlos. Be proud of who you are. You are a very good man. I have come for a message for you. You have the energy of God inside of you. You do not need Rosie. You do not need anybody, and you know this. You can channel me yourself. You can look into the mirror and you can connect with me and the power that resides within your body. I am within you. I am part of you. I've only come through her to give you and all of your audience this message, that I am within every single being. You need no one else but yourself, and to believe in yourself.
So, Brad, just to, if I may, because we've done so much of this, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I generally know what the guides will say because we've literally asked them all these questions dozens of times over. So, when you said why has God picked the vessel of Rosie to come through, it's actually the opposite way round. What has happened is you have chosen to create a reality where you have an experience where Rosie channels a message for you. You see, the thing is, everyone is God. So you're creating your entire reality and there's nothing but you. And everything you experience is your creation. So the truth is, if from your perspective, actually what you've done is you've chosen Rosie to be the vessel that delivers the message to you. Does that make sense? Because you have to answer every question we have, ultimately, to get to the ultimate answer of it, you have to answer it from your perspective, not from somebody else's. So the real ultimate answer to your question is that you've chosen Rosie to channel a message for you today and everybody else, because that's what you're experiencing from your perspective. Now, from Rosie's perspective, if she says, why is God speaking through me? If she asks that question, well, the answer for her is because that's the reality she has chosen and created for herself. She has chosen to have God speak through her. But when we say God speaking through her, that's not actually the choice, because she is the truth, she is God. So it's actually God speaking through God, if that makes sense. So you see, this is our ultimate message. This is my ultimate message to the world. We are all God. And that's why I've called my political party Everyone is God. we want to do this channeling more live on social media so people see, Rosie can channel God, I can channel God, you can channel God, everybody can channel God, because we are all God. It's just that simple. And there's nothing special about Rosie or me or you or anybody else. We're all 100% God, and we're all equal in that sense. So, it's not that God has it's not that God has chosen to speak through Rosie. It's that Rosie has chosen to have this experience. You've chosen to have the experience you're having, and all the viewers who are watching this right now have chosen to have this experience as well. So, do you see? It's not God choosing Rosie. Does that make sense?
Yes, indeed. Fascinating. Very fascinating stuff. Rosie, if you do feel safe and you want to come back out of this trance, this channeling, then we can maybe just speak with Rosie and Marcus for now.
We wish you all well. Thank you for giving yourselves this divine time. We have a message. We wish everyone to recognize their own divinity. Your body, your life is precious. Please value every single second you have living and breathing on your birth planet Earth. Look into the mirror every day if you can, and accept and love who you are. This is the way, this simple way can make the world a better place. The more you love and accept who you all are as human beings, the more you will be kind to each other. And this is what you need in your planet. Please just take this simple message and try to do this every single day if you can. Look into your eyes and feel that truth within yourself, that you are beautiful and wonderful, and you deserve to love and accept yourselves. Every single person who is listening and watching this deserves to love and accept themselves, wherever they come from, whatever they've done in their lives. Just allow yourself to have that acceptance and love of being human. Please, this is the message for you all. God bless you all. We wish you well, and namaste.
Wow! And how does it feel coming out of this channeling experience, Rosie?
Just give her a minute. You're okay.
Yeah, it's quite. I feel that was quite sort of powerful, that one. They're all powerful in their own ways, but yeah, it was the energy of God. It was quite like it was.
It was quite strong today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It can vary. There's been guides that Rosie's brought through that are so intense, it's almost completely overwhelmed her, and it's like she's plugged into 10,000 volts. But then because we've done so much of it and she's done so much of it, she gets used to those energies, and then it becomes a complete norm. But then, when a new situation arises and a new frequency comes through of God, it can be very intense, and it's been a bit more intense today.
Yeah. Okay, we've had quite a few questions from, I think it's one of Rosie's followers.
Yeah,
GNX. I won't read all of them. But do you believe that Satan is God as well?
This is a really, really good question. The answer's yes, God's everything. So God's all the dark and all the light. This is what we believe. It's the answer we get all the time. And this is one of the core messages we want to bring through. This whole separation we have between light and dark, good and bad, we have to break this down if we're to resolve the problems we have.
Yeah.
And yeah, it takes a lot of explaining to understand how that can be. How can God be Satan as well? But it's an explanation I'm happy to give, but it takes a little while to explain it all.
Okay, let's slightly, because I think you think you generically kind of answered that God's in everything. That's what you believe. Change your mind and trusting Jesus. Obviously, you mentioned the Archangel Gabriel. These are figures from Christianity, from the Bible.
Yeah.
So, is there a direct link to that religion, Rosie? Would you say?
So, yes and no. I mean, for me, I was baptized Catholic. So I believe I chose my parents. I chose that path. I don't practice Catholicism now, but I do believe in aspects of it, like Mary, Jesus, God, and certain parts of the Bible. I don't follow all the doctrine at all, but so I think there's a reason for that. There's a reason for why, I've had that, and, Christianity is so prevalent in our society now. Why have I chosen to be born in this time zone where Christianity is so prevalent? Our calendar's based on the Christian values too, So, but I also think it's deeper than just Christianity. It's how science is created. Everything, it's deeper than just Christianity, if that makes sense.
And I think, can I say, Brad, we want to be clear. Our view, and certainly the guidance we get as well, is the same. We don't believe that the Christian religion or any other religion has a franchise on God.
No.
We believe, it's a universal phenomenon that runs through everything. We believe everything is God. So that, we wouldn't say something like, we're from a Christian background and that's how we channel God. No, that's not our belief system. Anybody can do it from any religious background or any background whatsoever, spiritual background or however. And it's just, we and another thing I want to say just to illustrate this is that we channel all sorts of different guides from all sorts of different religions and non-religious backgrounds as well. So we've channeled many of the historic figures in across all the religions and also the gods and goddesses. Some religions, have many gods and goddesses. We've channeled just probably hundreds or thousands of different energy systems, guides, goddesses, gods. So from all the different religions.
Yeah. May I ask, Rosie, in all this channeling that you do, have you been given answers that have changed your mind on an opinion that you've had on a viewpoint of the way you saw life?
Yeah.
Okay, give me an example of this. This is interesting.
So, I have actually, and some quite. So, for example, everyone's had trauma and challenge in their life, and I had trauma in my upbringing. And I used to sort of believe that because I used to feel that, I was just trying my best as a kid and trying my best even as a young adult. And why do certain things happen? What they're bad. Like, I used to think that I used to get bullied quite badly at school, and I used to feel like those bullies were bad, almost evil, whatever. But they made my life at the time it felt like a misery, and now I don't see them as bad or good or any different from me. I actually see them as it's taken a lot for me to do this, but this is what the channeling has shown me, that actually there's a reason for that, and it's almost like the people that made your life at the time hell or a misery are actually your greatest allies, your greatest friends, because they give you so much more insight into yourself than people who on, you know, that you perceive at the time are your friends and it's a bit of a difficult concept to explain in a sort of short space of time, but this experience has changed my mind on bad people in my life.
And what sort of like answers have you been given to make that sort of conclusion? That bad people
So
are there to help you, or there to...
okay, so this is one of the biggest misconceptions amongst humanity. When something bad happens that we don't want, we are taught that you reject this experience, it's bad, there's no purpose in it. Now, what the training we have from the guide says the opposite. So when something bad happens to you, maybe somebody's wronged you in some way, so this is, you know, a lot of the work we've been doing, guys. So the first thing is you say, okay, I'm the creator of this experience. How have I created this experience for myself? And one of the really difficult things that you have to come to terms with if you want to go on this sort of path and this sort of belief system is that you've got to unpick what it is inside of you that created this experience. Now, when you do that and you do it fully, you will then find out this experience will completely transform, and it will transform from something that you didn't want into something that's hugely beneficial for you. And I mean, I can give you...
Can we break that down slightly? Because obviously
Yeah.
that's something that a lot of people are going to really disagree with. So basically,
Definitely.
I've heard this interpretation before.
Yeah.
If bad things happen to you in some way or another, you've brought this on yourself, and you know it's meant to be as a life lesson. You know, a woman walking down the street gets attacked by a man. He sexually assaults her. How has that person brought that upon themselves? Or some of the most heinous, like let's go
Right.
Iran, for instance. Those school children, 100 and something, 50 children that are
Can
blown
I,
up.
or can I try and answer this?
You can. You're going straight to the most difficult questions of all.
I was actually thinking of this question because when I was 15, me and my sister's nearly 10 years younger than me, so I used to look after her a lot. So she was about 5, and we went into a McDonald's toilet, and this man nearly raped us, but fortunately he didn't. And it took me a lot to forgive and that trauma, because it was very traumatic, and understand why I created it. And the thing is, he was on the bus and I saw him masturbating on the bus, and I was in so much shock over what he was doing. I didn't tell anyone, and I was with my parents at the time, and I should have told them. And I had to tell the police all this stuff that happened. And my mum was in so much shock about it. She didn't handle it in the best way at the time. That's another story. Anyway, I'm now, as I've said before on this podcast, I'm a sex therapist, but I'm also a sexual performer. And that experience that man gave me and I interacted with at the time has on this path has given me so much understanding on rape, yes, the energy of rape, the energy of these horrible things that happen to us, and why I was in that situation. And I realised that I was as a 15-year-old girl, I had no idea about sex, but I had a lot of sexual energy, and this is a big thing within our politics, that we need to educate children, because there's so many young children who present this energy and are not understanding it. Now, it's not their fault. It's no one's fault.
Yeah, it's not a case of fault.
It's not a case of fault. It's about understanding yourself. And this is part of what I feel that experience has given me, this energy to educate people, to help them understand themselves and stop creating these things. Now, that's one aspect of that story. And there's studies, for example, of rape victims. There's a study where a rapist was he was in a lineup of, they'd done research to find out why he chose particular women to rape. And he said he couldn't explain it, but he said there was just something in their mannerisms or the way they held themselves or whatever. He would just want to do it. There'd be other women he'd walk past in the street. It wasn't even necessarily what they wore. They could be wearing really revealing clothes, but he'd walk past them. It was something in their energy. They realised, all the women that he raped had some sexual dysfunction in their childhood. They weren't necessarily abused, but they had something dysfunctional going on in their childhood, which was running in their belief systems. And this is something that we don't really understand in our culture yet, how belief systems from your childhood affect your energy and affect how people treat you.
Yeah. I think from what most people might say is, let's just go by like a man doing bad thing, revealing himself or shaking himself off on a bus. Most people will say there's no deeper meaning behind that. This person is just a damaged individual that has got to a point where he doesn't care. He's given up on life. He's a degenerate. He's sitting there jerking off on the bus to women. He's a disgraceful human being. That's what most people will say. There's no divide. There's like, God didn't tell that person to do that. This person has chosen to act in an immoral way that most people can agree with. There's nothing divine about that. So some people might say that, and also what you said about energy and stuff. I've done countless life stories of women that have been abused, and they tend to find these men out here tend to find these weak, vulnerable women to put them, like they call it trauma bonding, and people sort of bringing their bonds together. It's very easy to find a woman that's been abused. There is something about them, but it's not as deep as what you may be making out. Like this woman that's just very vulnerable, that shows something, and somebody's. Go on, Marcus.
So, Brad, I think you see okay, I just want, before I respond to this, I just want to say, you've gone straight to the most difficult question of all. Okay, this is the question that's been asked for thousands of years. Why do we suffer? Why do we have crime? Why do we have these horrendous acts that humanity does? And it's a very challenging question to answer, and people can get very emotive when you do try and answer it for understandable reasons. But let's take, you see, the way you're describing things is actually beginning to point in the direction of the answer. And let's take, a very difficult scenario of women who get raped. Okay. Now, you see, the thing is, the way we're taught as human beings is that we have limited power. We aren't in control of many things, and we're certainly not in control of the whole universe. That is what we're relentlessly taught, and that is the experience we have. The belief we have and the messages we channel paints a completely different picture. And like I said, I've grilled the guides over thousands of hours on this subject and many others. Now, I'll do my best to try and explain, the understanding we have and that we channel. So take an example of the woman who's raped. The narrative is she's 100% a victim. A man's physically stronger than her. She has been taken advantage of, violated in a terrible way, and there was nothing she could do to stop it because he's physically stronger than her. That's the human narrative. However, the narrative and the understanding we have is sort of opposite to this. You see, our understanding is this: within that woman who's raped, she will have there'll be probably maybe two key things in her energy and her belief systems. The first is she'll possibly believe in some way that she's a bad person or she's not worthy in some way. So she'll have a very deep belief that she's a sort of bad person in some way. And then also, because she has that belief, she'll have a second element in her energy, is that she attacks herself over it or allows herself to be attacked over it. So, for example, in her relationships, and they could be romantic or other relationships, she will continually allow people to abuse her. Maybe they'll be rude to her and she won't stand up for herself because she believes she's not worthy of having politeness. Now, if you live in that way over a long period of time, let's say she's 30 when she gets raped, she's been holding those belief systems for 30 years and acting them out every day and living by them. And that energy builds. It's literally physics. It's a bit like a tap dripping into a tank of water, and the tank, a huge tank of water over 30 years, it fills up, and before you know, you've got 50 tons of water in the tank, and it collapses. The energy structure collapses. So what happens is she's having this belief system for a long period of time, and she's living by it day in, day out, and she's pumping this energy out, and eventually it hits a critical mass, and it creates a very painful, dramatic experience where she gets raped. So, like I said, we've channeled on this relentlessly because it is the most difficult question, and everybody has these questions. Why did this happen to me? Now, here's the thing, okay, if you go down this route and you start trying to take responsibility for every experience you've had in your life, and you start telling yourself, somehow I created this, and you go on that journey of unpicking it and getting to the reason how you created it, what will happen is you have experiences that are as powerful as the rape was. So all that pain of the rape, the violation, the feeling of being disgusting, or whatever it is the woman feels afterwards, the intensity of those experiences will deliver a power and understanding equal to that level of experience, if you can get to that point of unpicking it all and taking full responsibility for it. So these experiences are gateways to massive power. And this is part of the message we're trying to bring to everybody. Your pain, however great your pain is in your life, that is how great your opportunity is to gain true power and mastery over yourself and your reality. But it is a very, very challenging path. And it's a path that is totally different to what we're taught every day as human beings.
It's interesting. It is interesting, but I don't know. I'm very skeptical with this one because I think as well, when people have beliefs, especially political beliefs, everyone has political beliefs. And then with the channeling, if you're not careful, you can go down a route of backing up everything that you think and you believe, because we all have our subconscious minds, and the mind is able to do things that convince you. Like if you've done bad things, it's very convenient to have a spiritual guide, a channeler that can tell you, oh no, this was you were doing good, you were doing fine, there's a reason why you were doing it.
Wait, we never said you're doing good. We're not, we want to be clear here, and I'm really glad you brought this up. We are not saying for a minute that people aren't responsible for their actions.
Exactly.
And take it from the point of view of the perpetrator of the crime. We're not saying, oh, you have no responsibility for this because the woman created it for herself. What we're saying is, I'm going to try and explain this really important boundary, okay? Everybody is responsible just for what they experience. Now, that means if a man rapes a woman, the rapist, the man, is responsible for raping. He is 100% responsible for his choice to go out and rape. And we do believe he should be held fully accountable for it through a system of law and punishment. The woman, we are saying, and I know this is really going to trigger a lot of people. I understand this. I don't say this lightly.
But it's for empowering people.
The woman is responsible for creating the experience of being raped. And I know if this is wildfire. I understand what I'm saying, and that this is really going to trigger people. But we've got two choices. Okay, we maintain the narrative we have around crime and how it occurs, and we're going to carry on replicating it in exactly the same way for the next 5,000 years, like we've replicated it for the last 5,000 years. It will just carry on the same. Or we change our perspective and we have a new way of viewing crime, and maybe in viewing it in a different way, we'll start to actually unpick it and resolve it properly forever. That is what we're about.
Yeah.
That is what our entire movement is about. That is why I've set up a political party, etc.
Okay.
So
just to clarify from the victims, because this is very important when we're talking about
very
something like this.
important.
So just to clarify, you're not saying that, because I think what you're saying is, and I think you can generalize, you can say this about anything. If someone goes through a traumatic event in their life, it can either be the thing that breaks them, and their life can deteriorate from it, or they can learn to accept what happened to them. Obviously, you've got to accept it and accept that it wasn't your fault. It was the person that someone that decided to do whatever he wanted to do, and you can try and build yourself up from this thing. And this could literally be anything. Michael Jackson, his dad was very abusive to him, beat him if he made a wrong step, and rather than him saying, it's beat me, I'm gonna be a defeated child, he embraced the abuse almost as well, and it turned him into a perfectionist, and now he's one of the most famous people in the world. So I do get that you can use the trauma, you can channel it to make you, just same with footballers, and for instance, footballers that come from very poor backgrounds, don't have nothing, they use the anger of being poor to drive them to get those extra miles in. So I think that's the key point that you were trying to make from there, because some people might hear it and think you're like, I think this guy over here thinks that, we're trying to say that, people bring it on themselves, and, they're responsible for it.
What we're trying to say is we're trying to help people empower themselves. I've worked with a few of it. I've never actually been raped. I've been in very dangerous situations, unfortunately got out of it. But I've worked with women who've been actually quite raped, quite traumatically, gang raped. I've worked with a number of women who've been raped by their fathers and grandfathers, like really bad stuff I've worked with. Okay, so... And the women who go to that level of like, it's a spiritual level almost, of like, why did this happen to me? What it's, okay, like they've done this nasty thing to me, but I'm not going to let that govern my life. I'm going to, like you say, learn from it and try and they've forgiven the rapist, forgiven their fathers for doing this awful crime to them. And those women, they've changed their lives around. They're deeply powerful women running businesses, highly successful. And there's a difference between some people struggle to get to that place of forgiveness and seeing it as it's all like Michael Jackson, like it's given me a gift or something. And that they can then keep creating, like, people say, I keep going for men who mistreat me, and they're going in and out of bad relationships. And that's the difference. We want to help people change their life to recreate a new paradigm for themselves where they don't have to be the victim. They can choose.
Yeah, it's one of those really frustrating things. I'm thank you for clarifying that there, because people will get the wrong idea. I think this guy over here, he's taking it the wrong way, because he's basically said, so the victims of the World Trade Center, did they bring that on themselves? And this is the kind of stuff, if it's not sort of carefully sort of depicted, people will come up with. They'll say that, oh no, these people are saying that this woman brought the rape energy on herself, sort of thing. I don't think you're saying that. From what I'm hearing is, you're saying that, when traumatic things happen to you, you can choose to sort of let it break you or make you. And, I don't know.
Look, we've got to be honest, okay? And I know this is going to put us in the firing line, but I've just got to say it straight. We believe everybody is 100% responsible for what they experience.
Okay.
100%. They are the creators of everything they experience. Now, we're going to go around in circles and explain the same things over and over again, and how we actually justify that and how we believe this stands up. But we're not. You see, look at our belief system. Our belief system is everyone is God. If you are God, then you create everything yourself. You are the creator of everything. This is a hallmark of God. God is the creator. And you create it with a purpose. You don't do it, God doesn't wake up in the morning and go, oh, let's just create a wall today for a bit of fun. It's not like that. It's there is a deep purpose behind everything. And look, I'm gonna stick my neck out more. So I've had a lot of pain in my life, very extreme pain, I think, by any standards. Now, some people might say, oh, you haven't been raped, your children haven't been murdered, etc., etc. But I've had it very intense depression, anxiety.
You've had people steal from you.
I've had people poison me. I've had people con me over months and out of £50,000. I've lost. I don't have contact with my entire family. Only my daughter is the only member of my entire family that I have any contact with. I've had a lot of tough things happen to me, and every one of those things, because I've been on this path, I've been able to see how I've created it, and then what the purpose of that is, and start gaining very deep knowledge because of those experiences.
Yep.
And so when I say all this stuff we're saying today, when I say it, it's not based on a theoretical belief system. It is based on my experience of my own life and all the pain I've experienced. I lived for 25 years with the mantra, if I could get to the end of the day without committing suicide or without going insane with pain, then that was a good day. It was the only way I could get myself through the pain I was feeling. That is how intense it was. And it has given me a very deep knowledge and understanding of things. It's sent me into places I would have never gone. It's caused me to ask questions deeper and deeper and deeper to get to an answer. And so for me, the experience of pain, and I'm not done with it yet, I still experience a lot of pain, but the experience of pain has always yielded gifts and deeper knowledge and deeper power. Everything, every painful experience of my life has done this. So this belief system we have, for me, is continually and universally verified in my life. I can't speak for others. I can only speak for myself and what I believe.
We both.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to tell anybody how they should live their life. We're just explaining what we believe and what our experience is and what we channel.
Yeah. It's a fascinating one, guys. I've really enjoyed it, and it's one that can go on and on and on. And I think, Marcus, whether it's next Monday we do a show or Thursday we do a show, I think we'll probably have to continue on this. Based on what we said today, people will have more and more questions about this kind of stuff. So I don't think we're going to be able to escape doing another follow-up show on this and getting people's reactions from it.
Yeah.
That you're always going to have skeptical people out there. And what's very important is what you just said right there. It's your belief. You're not forcing anyone to believe anything.
Precisely.
And some people might come in, they've seen different parts of the show, and they might say, look, who do these people think they are talking to God? They're just, this is something that they've built up in their head just to sort of justify their own sort of beliefs based on their experiences. But what I would say as well, that's all we have. We all have our own experiences.
Exactly.
We all have our own experiences and we all have our own beliefs. What you've done today is no different to what people do when they go to church and they pray. If someone's sick, you're praying. It's selfish because you're praying. I think if you get to a point in your life where you're grateful And it sounded like that's where you were coming from there, Marcus, where you were saying
Yeah.
you would be happy, a good day would be getting through the day where you're still alive. So you were grateful for your days, and it's always good to sort of have this dialogue and debate and speak with people. The one question I'll ask you before we go for both of you, are you open to your mind changing changing your perspective, changing your opinion based on new revelations that may come, new experiences that may come?
Well, this is exactly what we're trying to do all the time, because we recognize that we don't have total knowledge and total understanding of things. This is the primary goal of my life. And I'm just going to be completely honest. My goal, I want to prove to everyone that we're God by being God.
Wow.
As simple as that. That is absolutely what I'm trying to do. I've been training to do this my whole life. And, I obviously, clearly at the moment, I can't do this. I can't prove to people I'm God and they're God, but I'm trying. And this just demonstrates that I don't have full knowledge yet, because if I'm correct and we are God, if I have full knowledge of this, I'll be able to demonstrate it. I'll be able to do anything, click my fingers and do anything. And I am trying to do that. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. So I recognize that I absolutely do not have full knowledge yet. And for that reason, I'm, the absolute fundamental goal of my life is to gain more knowledge and be open-minded to new ideas and such like. So this is central in my life.
Yes, exactly. I'm always humbled to understanding more, and I think sometimes in failure, that's where you learn the most. And both Marcus and myself feel at times like sort of failures. We feel like we've got this message, we've got this sort of understanding, but we haven't got a big platform, we haven't got £1 billion in the bank. We're just humble people trying to get by, but also feeling that we've got to get it out there. So every day is a learning day, and I just take I try and be grateful, like you said, for every single setback and every single forthcoming that comes my way, because I know in the setbacks you learn so much more than when everything goes smoothly.
Yeah. And one of the things I've actually learnt from Marcus here as well, I would say, is dealing with people. I think a little bit, because Marcus, one of your sort of philosophies was being nice, being polite to people. And we've got someone in the comments. He's obviously said a lot of things. Some of the stuff started quite negative, but overall, people have to listen to each other. It doesn't matter if you disagree. And I feel like if rather than shooting people down for their beliefs, you can just sort of put some simple sort of articulate questions to people that makes them think, oh, wait a minute, maybe I need to look at this another way. Maybe I'm taking this wrong way. But guys, thank you very much for joining us. A very fascinating show. And I will update you during the week, guys, on our next show. And it will obviously have to be a follow-up of this, guys, because it was a great show. We've had Rosie, we've had Marcus, we've had the Archangel Gabriel, we've had the energy of God as well with us on this, energy of God with us on this podcast. So wow, guys, it's been amazing. I will leave you guys to say your goodbyes to the people.
Okay, well, we hope everybody's enjoyed it. And like I said, we encourage everybody to live by their belief system, formulate their own beliefs, and, inquire, listen to other people, ask your questions, go on your journey of discovering what your truth is.
And thank you all for watching. I've got a little message I felt from God just come in there. Love yourselves, forgive yourselves, and learn and accept yourselves. And the world will begin to get a better place. And lots of love.
Beautiful message.
To everybody.
Beautiful message.